Alright, so here we're going to review of the Capsule3 Pro Plus by Soundpeats. This is a true wireless set of IEMs, single dynamic. It is around $90, but with a discount code in the description, it's around $58. Don't worry, that discount code isn't associated with me in any way. There's no association whatsoever. They just sent this over for review, and yeah, that's not going to affect my opinion at all, so let's get into this. As you can see, it does have LDAC and all that, so that is awesome to see. Let's open this up here. We have the IEM case. In this box, we'll have the rest of the accessories, and we can put this box to the side. Let's take this out here. See, what do we have here? We have the tips. Take this out. You know, that paperwork you don't care about. Some stickers and a charging cable. I do wish this came with a charging plug, but at this price point, I guess it's fine. It would have been still nicer to have like a plug for the wall where you can plug this into. This is the side here, and here you have the IEM case. Inside they have the actual IEMs themselves. All right, let me actually turn off the Bluetooth on my phone because I believe that's what I do not want it to record the recording to stop while I'm connected to Bluetooth or something like that when I open the case. So the tips here, let me actually open this up and take these out so you can actually see the IEMs themselves. This does connect upon taking these out of the case, which is excellent. You don't see that sometimes on some of the more budget sets. That was a really convenient feature. But yeah, let's talk first about sound, and then we'll talk more into the actually, you know what? No, sorry. Let's talk about comfort and build first, then we'll move to sound, and then we'll move to the extra stuff. So first, comfort and build. This is a full plastic shell IEM. Everything is plastic. I mean, you can't really expect too much in terms of like some kind of metal build at a higher price. And also it does allow it to be lighter. It does use USB-C. And overall, the build is fine. You probably already noticed this something your imagination. I actually don't remember what it says originally. But this like wiped off over just normal use. Like this is not like I didn't throw this around. This just stayed in my pocket, and over time this came off. So that's not a good sign, of course. But it's just some cheap printing that they put on the front. It's not really a big deal to me, but I mean, yeah, it's just I wish they had this in a nicer kind of like either engraved or something like that, or just not have it at all, because this just looks terrible now that it's just smudged off. It does have this little reflective thing here. This says Soundpeats. They should just leave it with only this. They shouldn't really have this in the front if it's just gonna wipe off like that. Alright, overall the case is really nice. Here you have the pins for the charging. You just drop them in and they are charging. There we go. The magnets are nice and they don't really like, what do you call it, like come off unless you, I just slammed this against my table. They don't really come off unless you like really, I don't even know if I can get this to fall if I do this. So yeah, that's good, yet it's very easy to just do this. It feels nice, it feels quality, and it feels actually a lot better than the price would suggest in that case. It is very similar to, you know, AirPods, where like the feeling of this closing and opening. I like it a lot. Anyway, in terms of touch controls, they're on the side. Both of these have touch controls. You would hold to change between ANC, normal mode, and pass-through. We'll talk about those after we talk about sound. But the touch controls were really on and off for me. I mean, they work decently for the price, but they're not perfect. Every once in a while, the touch won't register. But overall, it does work good enough for me to say it's fine. But I would have preferred a little bit more responsiveness. As you can see here, this grill is most likely the microphones for the noise canceling. And yeah, that's about it for build. Let's talk about now comfort. Comfort was the main issue for me. Not that they're uncomfortable, but because the fit isn't really good. A lot of people use these kind of wireless IEMs for exercise, and I cannot recommend this at all for that. These would fall out immediately after you just walk the wrong way. This is it was very like not uncomfortably, like very unsteadily sitting in my ear, where I constantly felt like I had to readjust it to make sure it doesn't come out of my ear. It was not uncomfortable in my ear. It didn't hurt my ear in any way. If anything, they're quite comfortable because they don't really insert deep in your ear. But at the same time, it means that it's going to come off very easily. It does mean also you can take them out of your ear really quick and put them back on, but I do wish there was a better seal because it would provide better sound quality and also better noise isolation, etc. Not to say the noise isolation is bad, we'll get into that in a second, but overall, I don't like the fit of these. I wish maybe there was a hook here, or that it went around the ear, or had an optional thing to be able to make it stay in your ear. But overall, it's not a big deal. I used the smallest ones, and it is still just not going in my ear. I didn't even really need to use, like, I didn't really need to try these, because like this, if this was smaller, would have been better. Not a really good fit situation overall. But yeah, now let's move on to sound. Sound is where I was quite impressed by these. I'm not gonna lie, I have a big bias against wireless IEMs. I mean, I've been using wired IEMs for a very long time. Most of the time when I go out, it's probably, most of the time I use my SuperMix 4 with like a dongle or with a DAP. But, and every time I tried true wireless stuff, it was just not, it's not competing. But these actually really do punch above their price bracket, not only compared to other wireless sets, but honestly, compared to wired sets. It was very shocking. I had a very strong bias against a wireless set. I was like, there's no way it's gonna sound good. It's probably gonna sound meh or bad. And I listened to it, and this is very impressive. Let's go lows, mids, highs here. To the lows. The lows are the best aspect of this set. Honestly, very impressive. Even with the lack of a seal on these, which is very, very insane to me, these have very, very thumpy, very deep sub bass and a decent mid bass. I'd say the sub bass though is where it really shines. It's very good rumble, very good impact, and the mid bass is all right. It's good. I'll say the mid bass is good. Definitely better than the majority of things in the price point of like $58 to $100. Very excellent. In terms of overall, just I would say the bass is just probably it's just perfect. Honestly, I would not ask for more in this price range. Now going on to the mid range. The mid range, the vocals are presented very forward. So if you don't like that, that is a slight issue. But for me, I quite enjoy a forward mid range. The note weight of the vocals is very good for the price, but still falls behind maybe some of the wired sets in the $100 price range. Compared to the $50 price range, if we're talking Kiwi Cadenza, maybe the EW200 or something like that, it is comparable. I'll say this does fall behind the EPZ Q1 Pro. I don't have that like next to me right now in terms of note weight and imaging, but these do hold their own against some of the other sets in the $50-ish price range, which is very impressive because this is also wireless on top of that. In terms of actually I'll talk about staging at the end. Let me go to instruments. Instruments are very good. Strings sound excellent. Overall, instruments sounded fantastic. Going on to the treble. Treble wise, these have a relatively rolled off treble, but it still has some detail in it, and it does have decent extension, but still it is a very comfortable listening set. This is one of those sets where even if the recording isn't very good, it still sounds quite nice because it isn't like a detail like monster or anything like that, and the treble is rolled off, so you don't really get any sibilance or any problems like that. But it also does mean that these do lack in detail compared to some other sets that do have more treble extension and do have overall more presence in the upper treble. But honestly, for me personally, when I use a wireless set of IEMs, I'm not looking for the most detailed thing in the world. I know some people may be wanting that, and if you want that, I'd say probably better to go for a wired set. But for me, when I'm using IEMs to go outside, on my commute, I'd probably just not really care as much about the detail. Of course, I did, pay attention to if these have detail or not because I'm doing the review for it. But if I was just using these as, just to go on my commute, I'd say that I don't really pay attention to the detail as much as I would if I was just in my house enjoying the music, just sitting there. Moving on to now imaging soundstage. Soundstage is not the widest thing in the world, but it's not narrow either. I'd say, it's around here. I'd say it's above average for the price range, but nothing insane. I'd say imaging is average to slightly below average. Imaging could use a bit of improvement here, but it's nothing like shockingly bad. I just wouldn't use these maybe for gaming or anything like that. Imaging is just fine. It's okay. Detail, as I said before, it's not the most detailed thing in the world, but it's not necessarily bad at detail either. For the price, I'd say, again, average to slightly below average. Now, that's all that was sound with noise canceling off. Now, turning noise canceling on does change the sound. In my opinion, it makes it less detailed, and also it boosts the bass a little bit. The bass gets a little bit boomier, and just the presence overall increases. Not in a bad way in terms of tuning, but in terms of detail, rumble quality, it does decrease. You do get a little bit thicker note weight, but not in a good way. This sounds a little bit, it loses a lot of air, and overall it loses a lot of detail, but it still sounds fine. It's listenable, but it's not nearly as good as when the noise canceling is off. Overall, though, it's still not bad for the price. Now, active noise, active, what is it called? Pass through sounded good here. The pass through functionality was nice. It did actually improve the ability to hear my surroundings. And when it comes to noise canceling, it did work to an extent, but I will say that it's not as good as something like a pair of AirPods or a pair of Bose over-ear headphones. It is good for the price, but I did also have a slight like beep noise coming out of these when I did have noise canceling on. It wasn't necessarily terrible, but it was something that they definitely should improve. I didn't like it, and also it did have a little bit of that, that pressurizing feeling that a lot of things have with noise canceling. These do have that as well. Now, let me see, what else is there to go over here? Battery life was excellent. I never had to really, I never really ran out of battery when using these. Battery life lasted a very long time. These did get loud enough for me. I know a lot of people have problems with getting their true wireless IEMs loud enough, especially in the more budget sector. These did get perfectly loud for me. I was like around 80% volume on these, was what I would consider loud. But of course, that depends on the person. But to me, I've had problems where other true wireless wouldn't get loud enough. These did get loud enough for me, even despite the lack of a good fit, like a really good fit. I wish that they actually had like a normal ear tip here, not like this weird like wide shaped thing. Because if I could put a pair of spin fits on these or something like that and get a good seal on this, that would have been incredible. But overall, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the set. Can I recommend it? It's a difficult thing to say. In terms of sound quality, absolutely. Build quality, it's alright. In terms of features, the Bluetooth, actually, by the way, the Bluetooth connection was very good, and I would have said it was perfect until just literally today I was using them, and I was getting one disconnect or two disconnects over like an hour. So it was not like, it wasn't like anything bad. It would just be real quick disconnect, reconnect. But it is something to note. I didn't have any other days I used them. I didn't have that problem, so it could have just been something today. But it's something I did want to say. Overall, though, Bluetooth connection was good. Putting just one in did still play perfectly, even though it turned off one or the other. It didn't have like a pause or a stop. It was a very fluid experience, which was also very nice to see for the price. Connection was also very fast. Immediately after taking these out, it was connected to my phone like that. Excellent. Anyway, back to, do I recommend these or not? Kind of. If they fit your ears well, then yes, and I can't really say. It's really gonna be up to your ears. Everybody's ears are different. For me, it is a big issue that these don't really feel like they stay in my ears. I had to readjust them a lot during use. The sound quality is very impressive. Honestly, these are tuned very well. I love the tuning. It is a not too bright, not too warm signature, very neutral sounding. Actually, not neutral, like neutral with a bass boost and a boost in the mids a little bit recessed treble. Overall, I really like that signature. I think the tuning overall is very well done for a wireless set, and I think that the sound quality is very impressive in this price range. So when it comes to sound and Bluetooth connectivity, I think these are very worth it for the price, but the main issue has to be that fit. I wish these fit better, and if they did, I would give these an absolute recommendation. With the fit issues, it's a toss-up. If these fit you, perfect, absolutely, it's a great deal. But if they don't, it really is a kind of an issue. With these kind of things, you gotta get a good fit. For IEMs and wireless earbuds, fit is probably one of the most important things, at least to me. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.